Nigga, that's
Ladies
chill.
and gentlemen,
Trying to get
my
us
name is
killed.
A.R. Jones, aka the Advocate for Prolific, aka Big Baby, aka the Wise Brother, and welcome to the first ever edition of the Velvet Hour. Since Queen Tay couldn't take time out of her busy schedule to
Damn it.
join us because today was supposed to be a tea time, I decided
Oh,
that, you know
man.
what, I could do it myself.
Yo,
Starting at the
Pete,
bottom of the pyramid
Pete,
today.
we're fucked. We're fucked, Pete. We're like, I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know how.
listen,
How
I
did this happen? How did this happen? This is shit.
listen.
Um,
I,
Y'all be okay.
I don't know what
you
just happened.
killed.
Blinds.
You just killed her open, and that. Oh my god.
You know what? One more time.
I was not. I was
No,
Like,
no, no.
not.
one more
Don't.
time.
No, Drake.
No, but no.
Relax yourself, girl, reset plan. 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 Relax yourself, girl, reset plan.
I like it. I like it.
Yo,
I think y'all like it too. But
Lord, fix it. Oh my God, fix it.
he did fix it. I fixed it. You're right.
Yo, now we are officially
I,
accomplices in this
I
shit. You realize what she's gonna do to us now, right, Pete?
just like that scene in Goodfellas where Joe Pesci's character thought he was going to be a made man, walks in the room, gets two in the back of the head. Like, I am not complicit in this. I did nothing. I had no idea. I literally just came from picking up a shopping order and having to run upstairs and then come in here. And this is what I'm listen, I value my life. I said this in the chat. I value my life. Okay.
Y'all will
I
be okay.
not value my hair because
Okay.
I decided to cut it off and now I'm stuck like this. But I value my life.
Y'all will be fine. Y'all stop being babies. Y'all be okay.
Yeah, all right. You say that until she grips balls and shit like she said in the last episode. I don't know what that was about.
She's she's not doing any of that. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
fine. We're fine.
Okay,
Trust me.
okay.
Trust
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
I haven't led you guys wrong at all. So you guys are good.
You put us in this predicament. I just want you to
You'll
know
be
that.
fine. You'll be fine. Anyway, at the bottom of the pyramid today, we have the voice of a generation, Pete Rosado. Welcome, brother.
Uh, no. Do not welcome me. I am standing on the outside of the rope. I am not going in. No, first of all, the Velvet Underground sound like some BDSM
It's
kind
the
of
velvet. It's a velvet hour. It's not the
Velvet
velvet
Hour.
underground.
That's even worse. That
Mhm.
sounds like something
Some
that Christian
Cosby shit.
Grey was
Sound like
into.
some Cosby shit. That's what
Yeah,
it does.
it does.
Y'all be okay.
You know what it sounds. Matt. You remember old Saturday Night Live, the Ladies' Man.
Oh,
That's what this sounds like right here. This the Velvet Hour. Okay, this sounds like I don't listen. I'm okay on the outside of the rope. I'm good. Your Velvet Hour, your Velvet Room, the upper room. You go over there. I'm over here.
anyway, because Peter's being scary. Matt, what's up? To my right, Mr. Henny Bobby Brown. How you doing, brother?
I'm annoyed. We're going through a custody battle.
That's always fun. And then
No, it's
you
not.
it seems like it's a good time for you at this moment.
It's not.
Should be fine. Sounds like rainbows and butterflies. A whole bunch. But other than that, fellas, how's your week been? It's been a minute since it's been just us three on.
I mean, I spent most of my day getting poked and cupped. So
You
there's
decided
that.
that this is what you wanted to say on the show. Okay.
I'm trying to get Matt. I'm trying to get Matt to react. That's the thing. No, listen. School's starting up for me. Kids come back next this week Thursday for my kids. I know a lot of New York public schools. Their kids don't come back till next Tuesday after Labor Day. My kids come back Thursday, Friday. So, I've been back in the school building since last week, just getting everything ready. You know, and then looking at a crazy next couple of months. I think every weekend from starting with September 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Every weekend, I have something on the schedule, whether it's real life related or wrestling related,
Mm-hmm.
as well as trying to figure out what's going on with We Are Wrestling. We are hitting up every known venue we can in the Bronx and trying to figure out what's going on. I'm holding on to the last strands of trying
Mm-hmm.
to find a space in the Bronx, but it's been difficult,
Mm-hmm.
to do that. But I'm hoping if we're able to get something solidified that November-ish, we can announce something for November, return to action for us, and then come back in 2026 in full strength. But yeah, man. I mean, I have 3 wrestling events in September. I have um, 2 wrestling events in October. And then I've got a wrestling event in November. On top of that, I've got Comic Con. I've got my 6-month wedding anniversary. I've got a wedding to attend of a good friend of mine up in Connecticut.
You are a
So
very busy man.
when I
That's what
tell
it is.
you from the week of September 12th
Mm-hmm.
till the week of November 15th,
Mm-hmm.
every single weekend, there is something on the schedule, whether it's wrestling related or real life related. It's crazy.
Hey, listen, we're shaking and moving. Can't do more than that. BK Matt, what's been going
All
on with you,
right.
fella?
For the most part, trying to plan something big for my lady.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the process, but for the most part, just honestly going through this custody thing with my kid's mother, and it's not fun. It's very, very annoying, honestly. But it is what it is. The things that you got to do to be a dad is overwhelming, but it's fun. And I'm using fun very lightly.
Very loosely, yes.
Well,
Well, listen, we decided that this week was going to be a break from sports because and the preseason and all that stuff. There's something I wanted to talk to you fellas about.
Jets have a
On
winning record right now.
ooh yeah 0-0, absolutely.
Very happy about that. Very happy about
But um, what I want to speak about is so you all of us are in different stages in our lives in terms of our love lives,
calling me old, Dre?
huh?
You calling me old?
mm,
No, not yet, not yet.
Okay, I was about to say. I mean, I know I'm like unk status. I think in the hierarchy, I'm not old. Not old.
I see a little bit of the grays. It's okay. It's all right. See it. See him
That's the
coming in.
lighting. That's the lighting. That's the lighting.
Uh, okay, if you say so. Okay. But we're all in 3 different stages of our love lives. Matt is in a flourishing relationship. Pete is in a wonderful, flourishing, almost 6 months of marriage. And your boy over here is dating and trying to figure it out. So, but I wanted to speak to you guys. One, Matt, you have been married before,
okay, don't
and
mind me.
Pete, yeah, Pete, who is currently married, and obviously, like I said, I'm dating, but I want to speak to you guys, starting with Pete, who's freshly married. What is the difference for you right now between you being married right now and then life before you were married in terms of being with the person, not like you single and then you being married, but what has
Uh,
changed somewhat?
I think that there's a couple of things, right? So, obviously, we waited until we were married to merge our finances, and that's a really big thing. I think a lot of people don't really understand. Um,
Hmm.
when you put your finances together, and I think there's a lot of people, both men and women, who
Hmm.
struggle with feeling like somebody's checking your pockets.
Right.
Because it's like, well, how much are you bringing home? What was your check? And being on top of a budget sheet. Like, she's a lot more like we're both, financial people, but she is a lot
Hmm.
more organized than I am on those
Hmm.
kinds of things. Like she is a spreadsheet queen.
Hmm.
Um, So like setting up an entire spreadsheet, writing in the formulas, all that stuff. And so in terms of that, like to that degree, she kind of handles the money side of things. And for
Mhm.
me, it was a little tough in the beginning because she's like, "Oh well, how much money are you getting paid?" And I was like, "Oh, somewhere around here." And she's like, "Well, what is it?" And the exactities and kind of like, and I mean down to the cent, because
Right.
she is sitting there trying to calculate a budget and calculate, okay, this and this. And I think it's also for a lot of people, we get that freedom of just kind of like, I'm just going to spend what I spend and that's it. And something happens, I'll figure it out. I'll move this here, I'll move that here,
Right.
boom, boom. And, I'm also married to a person who is a lot more, a lot more, I guess, how would I say this? A lot more, she's a lot less chaotic when it comes to those things. So, like, for example, during this past summer, we
Mhm.
had a little situation where we were not aware until very late in the situation that the New Jersey school that I work for did not pay throughout the summer.
Mhm.
10 years in education in New York, I'm used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, even during the summer, because it's a 10-month salary that's divided over 12 months. People think,
Mhm.
oh, just get paid for free over the summer. No, we're just getting our salary, but it's
Mhm.
broken up over 24 payments. There's a lot of places in the world.
Right.
Okay, Carmen San Diego. Um,
Hmm.
but like, there's a lot of places, a lot of cities and states in the United States where like a 10-month employee is only paid over 10 months. So your paycheck's a little bit bigger versus someone who's paid over 12 months. Their paycheck's a little smaller, but it's still the same amount of salary. It's not like I'm getting any extra money for the summer. Um, but we found out pretty late in the game that the school that I was working for in Jersey, because I switched schools mid-year, was not going to pay throughout the summer. So because we found out so late, we were not able to be prepared with like squirreling away money and things like that. So I had to pick up a summer gig. And so we got to a point where we sitting there like, okay, like, so here's what our bills are, here's what we're bringing in right now, what are we doing? And it was a little bit of like, okay, kind of having to move things around and be creative with the numbers. And that's not something that like she likes to do. Like I was the type of person who was like, okay, well, if we got to be late on the bill, we late on the bill. Like, fine, cool. What they gonna do about it, right? It's like they're gonna get paid. But if we got to be late on the bill, we just got to be late on the bill. And my wife is the type of person who's just like, I hear that, but I ain't trying to be late on the bill. I'm the type that's like, okay, if we have $100 bill that needs to be paid, and we only have $150, and we're not going to have money for the next 2 weeks, I would be the one to be like, okay, well, we're just not going to pay this $100 bill. That's just going to sit there for a little bit, and we're going to use this $150 for the next 2 weeks, and you'll get us through these next 2 weeks, and then worry about this at the next payday. My wife is the type like, no, I'd rather just pay the bill and then be left with $50. And I'm just like, my mindset is more survival from that. Again, growing up in the hood, it's very much like, hey, you never know what's going to happen. I need that money. I'll deal with this later. I'll deal with that later. And it's not a great mindset, and I'm very much growing out of that. But I think, when it comes to like, especially when you come from those kind of mindsets, like having somebody, ask you about your money, have somebody ask you like, why are you spending money on this? Don't use your cards for that. Don't why did you buy this? Why are we spending this? Why are we doing that? Why are you doing this? And I think I would generalize and assume that a lot of men will have a problem, especially men of color, would have a problem with somebody kind of like quote unquote checking their pockets. But when you are in a marriage and you have, merged finances, right? We need to make sure that the money coming in is necessary for what's coming in,
Right.
and we're meeting certain goals, right? And I think a lot of
Mhm.
people have long-term thinking that a lot of us may not necessarily have when we're single or even dating, versus that short-term thinking where it's just like, well, I need money for what's going to happen next week, and she's already
Mhm.
thinking about like, well, I'm we want to start putting away money now for what we want to happen 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. And I'm,
Mhm.
me, and I'm sure many other people have that mindset. It's like, well, that we'll get. Well, my favorite
We'll
saying,
get there.
yeah, my favorite saying used to be, "We'll cross that bridge when we get to it."
Right.
Um,
Oh, that's
and
marrying shit in the road. That's
right,
Yeah.
usually what that means. Yeah.
and it took me being in a relationship with my wife and obviously getting married to realize that like that is a very very unhealthy statement, because a when you get to the bridge, and you're not prepared to cross it, and now you need to cross it, and you don't have what's necessary. Now you're scrambling at the last minute,
Mhm.
and then also you don't know what's going to happen on the way to the bridge, right?
Mhm.
So it's a variety of things there. Then the second biggest thing I would say is really just, and I think the biggest thing for me in a marriage is understanding that there's no escape, right? And I don't say that in a sense of like foreboding or horror movie, like,
No,
oh, you can't,
I what you're saying. Yeah,
you can't
you
just
locked in. Yeah, you locked in.
right. You gotta, there's no better way to say this. You gotta go through the uncomfortable shit, and you have to
Mhm.
live in it. You have to push through it. You have to be willing to, live in uncomfortable spaces and exist in
Mhm.
uncomfortable spaces and have uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
And and there is no walking. And then listen, you want to walk away from, yeah, you can walk away from marriage, right? Many people who have, right?
Mhm.
You can do it legally, you can just walk away and do whatever, you can step out on your marriage and do whatever you're going to do, like, but if you're really trying to like be in this, like,
Mhm.
there is no escaping this. Like, you're going to have an argument, and there is no, she's going to her house and you're going to your crib, and y'all are separate for a little while, and then y'all can see each other, y'all just, call each other on the phone and deal with it, and it's like, okay, we over it, and now, 3-4 days later we going out on another date and we hanging out. No, you live together, you're sleeping
Mhm.
together, and that uncomfortableness is there, and it's about approaching it, pushing
Right.
through it, solving it, and sometimes understanding that you're not gonna solve it, right? And in that vein, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is, if you're approaching situations in your marriage, and this is also for a relationship as well, if you're approaching situations in a relationship, conversations in a relationship where your mindset is somebody's got to win or somebody's got to be right,
Mm.
you're already wrong,
Right.
right? Because being in a marriage, being in a relationship means A, sometimes nobody wins, B, sometimes nobody's right, and C, sometimes you're going to be wrong. And you need to be okay with that, right? And you need to, I struggle a lot with being defensive. I struggle a lot with, just growing up, having to always defend myself and prove myself, and like I would have arguments with people in my family, and it's always about like, I'm gonna be right, and I'm gonna this, and I'm gonna win this, and I need to win this because everybody always talk down to me, and like, I need to prove that I can stand up for myself in these conversations and stuff like that. And then
Mhm.
that transfers into my marriage, and so now, I have disagreements with my wife,
Mhm.
and instead of sitting back saying, okay, what am I hearing her say? What is she trying to get through to me? What did I do
Mhm.
wrong? Where did I misstep? Stuff like that. It's it turns into a schoolyard things, like, yo, yeah, I did that, but you did this, and da 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 da
Right.
da. And
And
then
it shouldn't be that.
right, and then it becomes throwing petty comments at each other and saying it under your breath. And again, you take something, and I am guilty of this in my relationship, right? And it's been a learning curve, right? Taking something that's this small, right, this small,
Mhm.
and you turn it into something that's this, and it's one of the biggest things I've learned, and I've read some great books on it too, is a lot of people think that your marriage or your relationship fails because the big things go wrong. No,
Mhm.
it's not the big fights, it's not the blow ups, it's not the big disagreements. It's
Afterwards.
not even that. It's the little things. It's the
It's the
little in
small
between
things.
things. It's those little in between things that you don't even realize, right? There's I believe, I forget what his actual like frame of study is, but you've probably
Mhm.
seen it. White dude on social media at some point. His name is Simon Sinek. If you don't
Okay.
know who he is, look him up. He's done a lot of you've probably seen him like in interviews talking with people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he's very good at studying the human condition and human emotions and human reactions. And there's a thing that he says, and he says it in the course of like professional conversations and discourse and stuff like that. But it very much goes into like relationship discourse. Um,
Mhm.
if the voice level is above a certain area, it's it's not about the thing that's being spoken,
Right.
right? So if she's ripping me a new one and yelling at me for not throwing out the trash, this has nothing to do with throwing out the trash, right? This has to do with something that I've consistently been forgetful about, something that I'm constantly misstepping, and the trash is just the straw that breaks the camel's back. And a lot of people
Mm.
in that argument will focus on the trash.
Saying
And
that, yeah, I took out the trash. I did this, and the third
oh,
versus
but why
everything.
you tripping? I just forgot to take the trash out. Like it's not that big of a deal. And that right there, that one line,
Hmm.
it's not that big of a deal,
Mm.
is a massive killer of relationships. It is something that has caused me a lot of strife, especially in
Hmm.
my relationship, just learning through it. Like it's not
So it
that
invalidates feelings.
yes,
Yeah.
because while it may not be in the context of a situation
Mm.
that big of a deal, to tell someone that the way that you're not, so if she's getting mad at me for not taking the trash out, yes, it's one of those things. Forgetting to take the trash out is not a big deal. But the way that when you say that, what you're saying to her is not that the trash isn't a big deal, but you're saying the way that she's feeling, what she's saying to you is not a big deal and it's not important. And as Matt said, it completely invalidates how she's feeling. It makes her feel not heard. It makes her feel disrespected. It makes her feel not like you don't care. Right. So now it becomes a larger thing. And there's a book that I read, and I'm gonna pull it up really quick. There's a book that I read. I'm trying to find it. I have it on my bookshelf. Trying to find it. Oh, it's by so it's interesting. I found this person through something on Instagram, and it's a gentleman by the name of Matthew Frey, and he started writing a blog called "This is how your marriage ends." And it literally was just a blog about how his things that happened in his relationship and his marriage that caused his marriage to fail and stuff like that. And then he wrote a book about it, and it's called "This Is How Your Marriage Ends." And I was reading some of his um, blog posts that I found online, just randomly, just finding stuff that he had written, and it's like there's this one from back in 2018 that's called "You Can Check Out Anytime You Like, but you can never leave." Right. And so if you're interested in stuff, a lot of his stuff, a lot of his older blog posts, you could find on his website. But it's like a lot of the older stuff is the stuff that I found, and then it led to me buying his book. Like obviously, my marriage is not in a space of failing. God willing, thank God. But reading his book made me realize, right? It's again, it's those little things. A lot of people think it's the big fights, it's the big disagreements, it's the big differences. Like, oh, she didn't like this, and blah 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 blah, and this, that, and the third. Like, there's a lot of things that me and my wife are not aligned on in terms of interests and hobbies and stuff like that. But those are not the things that end the relationship. Things that end the relationship are those little in between things, those small things that I hate to say this, a lot of us men do not pay attention to. And it's not about I didn't buy flowers for my wife and I didn't this, I didn't that. It's you come home and you forgot to give her a hug and a kiss. And you're in your head saying, well, I went to the kitchen, I said hi to her, I gave her a quick hug, and I went to the kitchen table because I had to start doing work and stuff like that. But could you have taken 2 minutes to walk in the door, put your stuff down, give her a hug and a kiss? Hey, baby, how you doing? How was your day? Da 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 da. Boom. Listen to what she got to say. Just hear her, and then be like, "Babe, I'm gonna go sit down at the kitchen table. I'm gonna get some work done, things like that." Just those 2 minutes of time, I guarantee make a world of difference. Rather than yo, I'm just coming in, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Checking in with your wife, checking in with your husband, right? I don't clock my wife. My wife went out with her one of her girlfriends a couple nights ago. I don't clock her, right? Hey, if you need me, call me, right? Um, we have each other's location. I'm gonna tell you right now, the first time she told me to give her my location and for us to share our locations, my brain went completely into defensive mode. Why you need to know where I'm at? Why you clocking me? Why you checking on me? I ain't doing nothing wrong, right? Um, she was out with one of her girlfriends. Hey baby, if you need me, let me know. Call me. Boom, boom, boom. And she had told me she was coming back around like 10 o'clock. It was like 10:30. I checked her location. She was still where she at the place. Cool, no problem. I didn't call her. She texted me. Hey babe, blah blah blah. We're staying a little while longer. This is cool. Communicate, right? Like I go on wrestling trips sometimes and she don't come with me and the show will end and I'm like, hey babe, show's ending. The guys are going out for a drink, I'm thinking I might go with them. Is that cool? I'm not asking for permission necessarily. Of course, if she says, hey, I need you home or something like that, that's one thing. But like it's more like, hey, just letting you know. Like, is that cool? Are you cool? Yeah, no, cool, no problem. Why? Because if she knows that okay, now it's 1 o'clock in the morning, show ended at 10 o'clock, he's still not home yet. What's going on? Right? And it's just on
Right.
my mind. It's those small things, and a lot of it really is. A lot of us men just like very defensive about a lot of these things.
I get it. I get it. Now, Matt, being that you were previously married, what were some
Please stop
things
reminding
that
me of that, please.
I mean? This is part of the show. This
No,
is
I hear
this is
you.
part of the show.
No,
I'm
because
not.
right now I'm
I'm not.
kind of
You know.
in
I'm
a battle with her right now, so it's
yeah.
like annoying.
But when
But
what I'm saying is going to lead up to your current situation now.
yeah,
What were some things that you learned in marriage that you had to kind of unlearn coming out of that, or the better question is coming out of being married, how did you learn to kind of change who you were to be who you are now?
um, that's kind of it's kind of tricky because again, I don't know if anybody really like. Yeah, granted, I know there's a lot of shows that I have done with that where kind of touched on the topic of my of
Hmm.
that marriage, and I've been very vocal
Hmm.
in saying that I lost who I was. Like
Hmm.
I lost a sense of who I was
Hmm.
in that marriage because I was trying to accommodate, her and trying to build her up, and in the process of all of that, I lost I lost like my sense of one common sense. I
Hmm.
lost my sense of being a man in that aspect because I was trying to, I guess, navigate in a sense of learning from past mistakes from my dad and the marriage that
Hmm.
he had with my mom.
Right.
And that's the wrong way to go. So ultimately I learned that I got married for the wrong reasons.
Hmm.
So there's that. Um, but the main thing that's the most important was I stayed in that marriage longer than I needed to be
Hmm.
for the most, even though it's honorable, it's all out wrong. I stayed in that marriage because I was afraid of how it would affect the kids.
Hmm.
So ultimately it damaged me in the long run, right? Because here I am now still fighting, as y'all know. I'm fighting like for primary with the girls. Um, Me and their mom are not great as far as communication with each other because all in all, we don't trust each other. We don't really care too much for each other. Um, yeah, the one thing I can learn is be yourself. I don't feel like anybody should dim who they are or be less of who you are, or being somebody that you're not to accommodate the person that is supposed to be your person, and in the right mind frame, your partner, right? The person that you feel God created for you, specifically for you. So if that's the mindset of it, who you are is 100% perfect enough, right? Flaws and all. I learned that exiting that marriage and entering into my relationship now, where we can argue, but our arguments are more therapeutic because we take the time to, like Pete said, validate each other's emotions and feelings so that the healing process of an argument and the learning each other's behaviors and unlearning the toxic behaviors that we had in other relationships that we picked up, it's therapeutic and it's fulfilling to learn and go through that journey together. So, and all run is just, and it's corny as fuck to say it, right? But be true to who you are as a person.
I don't think it's corny to say that. It's not.
Yeah.
Let's,
I would say though,
yes.
Matt. I would say though, I agree 100%. When we be true to who you are.
Mhm.
Too many of us put on an act or a mask, or we do certain things to make other people happy. I don't think that necessarily is what we need to be doing. But I will say that in a relationship, especially in a marriage, the number one word is compromise. Right? We
Yeah,
are all going to have to give up things. We are all going to have to be willing to compromise. And I think one of the biggest things that I've spoken about it before on one of our episodes, one of the biggest things that I've experienced with Shanice that I did not experience with a lot of other relationships, if any at all, was that I was with a person who was reciprocal. Right. It was a person who's like, I want to do things that you enjoy, even if they're not necessarily my cup of tea. All I ask is that you're willing to do things that I enjoy, right? There are things that I was not a church going person. I kind of already had my mind set on like where I stood with religion. I was good with God in my own way, and this is this. But I was with a person who wanted somebody to take an interest in this stuff and wanted to have a family that made this to be important. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna be open. I'm gonna open myself to trying this. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, nah, I'm good. I'm good with that. I don't do that church thing, this, that, and the third, this, whatever. No, I truly believe that this person is the person for me. So I'm gonna be willing to open myself up to try things that I've either already closed the door on myself or were just stubbornly not open to. There are things that I did not eat simply because I did not want to eat them. My wife will put them in front of me and say, try it. And part of the reason why I try it is yes, because I want to make her happy. But you know what I found? A lot of times, oh crap, I never liked salmon in my life. My wife put me on the salmon. I don't eat it all the time, but I'll eat it every now and again. And would I have ever done that on my own? Nope. Closed-minded individual,
hmm
right? But a lot of it is that compromise. And I do believe like a lot of people get into relationships and marriages where they believe one person has to fit into their life,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
It's just like, cool, I want the person that is going to allow me to do ABC, XYZ that I've already been doing. I don't have to change anything, and they're just going to fit in perfectly with what I'm doing. No, because that's not how life works, right? Like that's just not. I
I
would
get it.
love I would love to have a full wrestling schedule. You know
Hmm.
what having a full wrestling schedule means? It means that I lose out on quality time with my significant other. It means that
Hmm.
when we have children, I'm not going to be there, right? So, am I going to prioritize wrestling over my kids? Am I going to prioritize wrestling over my wife? Am I going to prioritize wrestling over my life, right? And so there are some people that are willing to do that, and more power to them. There are also some people who are with people who are okay with them doing that. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But I also wonder how much of that is somebody fitting into what you wanted. I wonder how many times you look at some of these relationships that look like they're great, and how
Mm-hmm.
many people are, as Matt said, giving up who they want to be, giving up what they want to do, right? How many people have sacrificed themselves for the happiness of someone else?
I think
But
I can jump into that part when you said I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you would.
Uh, um, that's the crazy part about dating, right? Because a lot of people give you, as somebody I heard it someplace and it stuck with me. A lot of people give you their representative because of not wanting to be something other than themselves, feeling like themselves are not it, and then being in the situations with people, and then that representative slowly but surely starts to step away, step away, step away, and then you start to see the person for who they really are, and now you're kind of in the jam with some of those people who are like, hey, no, this wasn't who you are. Now, change is constant. People do change, good, bad, or indifferent, but as y'all say, it's good to be true to who you are. And I think sometimes in dating, that's the hardest part. For me, I run into people sometimes who are not completely true to who they are. They feel as though that um, putting up a front is the best thing to do. And then I think one of the things that we haven't mentioned yet that's going to come up is about healing, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people come into situations unhealed and expect your partner to be the doctor in that, and that shouldn't be the case. Even in dating, I've said this a bunch of times. I'm gonna continue to say it. I'm not gonna fix glass that I didn't break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fix glass I didn't break. Um,
No, I do agree with you there, but I do think a lot of times
mhm.
you have to be willing to be part of the process for somebody, right? Because
And
Oh,
have
tell you,
yeah,
exercise patience and
right,
grace.
I'll tell you
yeah,
for myself, right? I
hmm
got into this relationship
hmm
with stuff that I had not dealt with, because a lot of us bury it, a lot
yep,
of us mask it, a lot of us use.
Say men, a lot of men.
It's true. A
hmm
lot
Yeah.
of us use relationships as a way to
hmm
distract us from the bullshit. And then when we get too deep into, here's the funny thing, you get into your relationship to distract you from the trauma that you've never dealt with.
hmm
Then you get deeper into that relationship. You know what happens? Situations start to occur
and them
that
traumas just
end up bringing that trauma right to the surface. And then what do? You leave the relationship because you don't want to face the trauma. You don't want to face the bullshit. And so you constantly are just running from one space to another to avoid this when you could just work on this. And
mhm,
sometimes being in my relationship is the reason why I have been able to face a lot of my trauma, have a lot of my growth. And no, it was not her responsibility
mhm,
to fix me, right? It's my responsibility to do the work, right?
mhm.
It's my responsibility to do the work, but it was because of the relationship that I'm in that I'm able to then. Because at what point do you value what you have in front of you more
Mhm.
than what's away?
Oh, I
And that's
agree with that.
the thing, right? Like
Hmm.
this is a situation where it was like I could walk away from this,
Right.
but is this something that I could live with walking away from?
Hmm.
And it wasn't. And so, in order to keep what I had and to grow what I had, I needed to make sure that I dealt with the other shit. And to your other point, the truth is, my wife
Hmm.
will, in 5 years, will not be the same person that I married.
Hmm.
And in 10 years, will not be the same person. Well, in 10 years, she won't be the person she'll be 5 years from now. And in
Hmm.
10 years, she definitely will not be the same person that I married. And 30 years from now, she will not be the same person that she was 20 years from now. Right? As you said, change is constant. A lot of
Hmm.
people get enamored with what they have in front of them.
Right.
And they realize that things and people change. things and people grow. Sometimes somebody may get in a relationship like, hey, I don't like mangoes.
Mm-hmm.
And 10 years later, they go on a trip somewhere and they
Down and finishing the damn mangoes. Yeah, no, I get it. I get
and
it.
now you go on your shopping trip. Like, babe, you didn't buy no mangoes? Yeah, you don't like mangoes. No,
I
I
thought you
like
didn't like
mangoes then.
mangoes. You ain't see me killing them damn mangoes. Yeah, no, I
Right.
get it. I get
People
it.
people are gonna change. And are you okay with that? Or are you
Right.
stuck on the image of who you marry? You see this with a lot of like these celebrities
Yeah.
that chase after young chicks. You when especially dudes that chase after young girls, right?
Sure.
The minute they get to an age or the minute they get to a level where shit starts to switch up on you and you no longer have certain things that you were looking for, you move on to the next because you're so enamored with, you see this with the physical beauty of our society, right? Oh, she don't look the same. So women feel like they got to get all this plastic surgery, all this work done to stay attractive. No, like I've always said, like, listen, my wife is attractive as all hell. Y'all have both met her. She's an attractive woman, right? But that is not what enamored me to my wife. That is not the reason why I married my wife. It's an
Right.
added fucking bonus,
Mm-hmm.
and I know she's gonna be beautiful for many many years. But can I live with that personality? Can I live with who she is, for better or for worse, her flaws as well as her strengths? If you cannot live with somebody's flaws, because not every flaw is going to change, but if you cannot live with somebody's flaws, I don't care what how good they look.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
just not.
think, yeah, not, you're right. And just to touch back on something you said, yeah, I think for me, I've been patient. I've been patient with people, and when it comes to like, hey, I'm not, I'm not here to fix it, but I can work through it with you. I think a lot of times, once I see people are not willing to put in the work to fix these traumas, that's when I kind of moonwalk out the situation, because then it turns into me being Mr. Fix It. And I ain't gonna lie, guys, my cape is hung up. My cape is hung up. Like, Captain Saver person is not it. It's not it. It's never been it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I wasn't trying to fix every problem or every person, but at the same time, I had to learn I can't do that, because it is nothing. And then you spoke about, one of the things that's important to me is, um, your partner pouring back into you, the same way you pour into them, right? Um, and then the whole 50-50 conversation and everything like that. I tell people, do what's best for your house, right? I have two men on the show.
50-50 ain't 50-50. People got to get rid
50-50
of
is
that.
never good.
It's never
Yes.
50-50.
50-50 got to be.
50-50 is never 50-50. That's why I tell people, do whatever's best for your house.
I have
Like,
learned that the hard
hmm
way in marriage,
hmm
going through this. That is another phrase that we need to get rid of. This whole
hmm
thing, oh, it's a 50-50 house. No, because sometimes you're going to be the 90 because she only got 10. And sometimes she going to need to be your 90 because you only got 10. This ain't 50-50, right?
right.
It's not about the, and people got to get
It's
rid of that.
100% us. It ain't
Yeah,
50-50. It's
it
just
has to be
100%
Yeah,
us.
100%.
got to be 100%. Okay, that's what I said. Everybody got to do what's best for their household and stop looking into that. Um, I'm gonna say, because I've met both of you women. They've both fell into some wonderful men, because I've known y'all for a while. I know y'all quite a bit. Um, for Matt,
Yo.
when it comes to Candice, right?
Hmm.
What has she done for you that has been different, than anybody else who you've kind of been in a relationship with?
Uh, what was big for me was the friendship that we've already had. So it was
Hmm.
just like the familiarity of us being us. And one thing I can really respect about Candace is the fact that she holds me accountable, but she holds me accountable because she loves me. It's not to just,
That's a hard thing to admit, brother. A
Yeah,
lot of
no,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that.
Hmm.
and when I say hold me accountable because she loves me, I think the problem a lot of relationships have is sometimes it turns into a competition, right? Where who's right and who's wrong. And with me and her, it don't matter about who's right and who's wrong. It's more or less about healing and learning with us, right?
Hmm.
That's the big one for us. Like right now, I know she's going through a lot. She's
Hmm.
dealing with a lot of emotions. She took a big loss this year, so
Hmm.
we're still trying to navigate through that. Um, and it's important for me to help her navigate through that because I went through it. Um, I went through it what 5 years ago.
Right.
So it's like helping her understand, like, yo, what you're feeling is natural. How you move about it, it's natural. Like these emotions are real, but don't shy away from it. Feel it. Because if you don't feel it, and if you do pocket it and you do like try to like sweep it under the rug, it will consume you. And it
Hmm.
will get the best of you, and you'll be in a place that you're not familiar of, and you'll lose sight of who you are.
Hmm.
And ultimately, who you are is the person that I fell in love with. You know, so it's we're navigating through that. So it's like I'm holding her like I hold her accountable to the same extent that she holds me accountable.
Hmm.
And then we pour into each other as well, as far as helping us learn certain behavior.
Oh, oh, don't know what happened to Matt. We will. Oh man, he was cooking too. He definitely cooking. But we'll get back to Matt. Pete, with Shanice, what is one thing that she taught you that you haven't learned in any situation prior to her? One thing that's probably going to stay with you the whole time.
A lot of the same role that Matt was just explaining, where it's just like learning that it's not about being right. It's
Hmm.
not about having definitive, I think for a lot of things I've always been a very defensive person, and again, a lot of that is because of why the way I grew up and stuff like that. So she she has really taught me that it's okay to be wrong, um, and at the same time to prioritize myself, right? Like she does. I'd never really celebrated my birthday as an adult, right? She will go out of her way to make sure, like, yo, you need to be celebrated. You need to be this. You need to be that. You need to be given your time as well. Um, and that is something that I never really got out of anyone else.
Hmm.
You know, but a lot of it is really just that growth of like, seeing things in a different light, seeing things in a different way, and realizing that like I don't have all the answers, even though I want to have all the answers.
Hmm.
I think the last thing I would say is understanding also that I oh geez, I was just about to say something that oh it's a lot of times when you try to do for your partner, it can sometimes be overdone, right? I was raised on the whole idea of like be Superman, right? You on your shoulders, do all this, all that. And sometimes being too nice, you don't realize you're not really being nice.
Right.
And learning, and so it's a lot of those little things that I've had to learn.
I got you. I got you. Um, so kind of to wrap, put a bow on this because this will be continued. I feel like we should have more of these for sure. Absolutely. Again, the queen couldn't be with us, but we still worked it out. And yes, you two are accessories at this point.
Nope, nope,
Yep.
nope.
Not
Yep.
happening.
Yep.
I'm not.
So for the voice
I'm
of a
not allowed.
generation. So for everybody, follow us on all social media platforms at the Your Sports Show. Follow these gentlemen, Henny Bobby Brown at uh, BK Matt Yerrrr on Instagram, Pete Rosado at We Are Wrestling One, or We Are Wrestling on everything. You will find it. It is his IP. Follow me at Z Wise Brother on all social media platforms, and that is a wrap.